Bam, bam, bam. Well, go on, my fellow airsofters and game lovers. It's your boy Yardman Leng. You know how it goes. We're there. Good vibrations. You know, the sun is out. We have to give God thanks in these things. You feel me? But I wanted to basically just do like a little update video in it, because I'm dropping a lot of content recently on the YouTube channel, on the TikTok, on Instagram and stuff. And this is where questions come in and things like that. So I've got a little Easter egg for you guys which will answer. I've got so much questions about BBs and these things. Like, a lot of beginners are sending me messages, what do I use, why do I use it? So I'm literally just going to do an update video to another video I've done on the channel about BBs. So if you haven't seen that video, go and check that one out. So let me go and grab that stuff for you quickly. So boom. So I believe it was like 2 weeks ago or something on the channel. I dropped a video. It was in a different bottle, but I have done my little customizations. So this is now what it's like my home BB holder. Obviously I've still got things like a speed loader. This is my home one, and then I've got a bigger one that holds 150 for my game days. But yeah, I basically put it in this because it's just easy to pour, it's easy to chuck back in. But the BBs that are in there are Vosk .20s. And like I said, I have done a video on the channel for it. So please check out the video on the channel and you understand what's actually in here, if that makes sense. So that's those BBs. And then I also done another video on these bad boys. I'll show you the label. The ARSUKs 0.20s, and they're black. I've changed the casing for it. This is actually what the Vosk comes in, but I still put the label so I know what is actually in there, and they're black, as you can see. Update. So we went to, me and the lads, I'm part of a squad called the Multicultural Special Forces, I believe is our group name. There's about, if I'm correct, there's about 18 of us in total. Correct me if I'm wrong, man, then. I believe there's 18 of us in total. However, depending on the game and where we go and the days, because obviously, you know, people have different commitments, work-wise, family-wise, etc. We averagely get probably about between 6 and about 10 of us out at a time, which is cool. And the other day we went to AP. For those of you who don't know AP, it's Airsoft Plantation. I've got a lot of content that will be dropping on the channel about that stuff. So please, 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 please make sure you're tuning in and just having a look, because that's how, like, I'm gonna drop a walkthrough. So for people who are like having anxiety, I get a lot of questions about how is the checking-in process, how does booking in work and all these things. I've done a walkthrough for AP. It's due to drop hopefully in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. And I'm due hopefully within the next month to do a walkthrough video for Splatoon as well. It's just I didn't have my camera at the time when I had these ideas. So yeah, keep an eye on that. So updates. Obviously last game, which was at AP, I took both of these because I wanted to test, like, obviously AP's an outdoor field. The day was sunny, similar to it is how it is right now outside, and I kind of just wanted real feedback in it because I had run out of my Vosk green gas. So I had bought, I think it's New Pro, I think they're called. I'll have to check the name on the bottle again. I had bought green gas from them, and then one of my guys who came to the game, big up man like Pat P, and he had let me use his red gas. So I kind of wanted to test and see, like, would green gas work consistent on the 2.0s from Vosk, and would it work consistent on the 2.0s from this other company? Because like I said in the other video, I believe these are slightly smaller. It's by such a tiny frame that you wouldn't, like, the naked eye finds it hard to pick up. Like, even me and man like P was trying to work out on the game day, like, is it smaller? And where he kind of got to was, yeah, it is smaller. But And big up Danny Lee as well, because Danny Lee ended up testing these for me and giving me some real feedback. So what I found on the day was, like I said in previous videos, these are great for beginners. The Boss 2.0s, if you're just trying to get to grips with your gun or get to understand how BB loading works and stuff like that, ideal. They're cheap, they're fun, they're effective, and you get a lot. I think it's like 3,200 or something that comes in the actual bottle, if I'm correct. So definitely worth it. What I would say is, as you upgrade, so for example, on that game day, I used an AEG, the Spectre Arms HO, I think it's a HO2. Brilliant gun for the value. It's like 275, but it shoots like something that's worth £500, so it's worth looking at. And I wouldn't advise putting these in there though, just because it's an AEG, it can shoot a bit more distance. I would advise something a bit more heavier, because on that day I was using .28s in it, and I'm not gonna lie, I had not much complaints. I did want to play about a bit with the hop up, but I think that's where my next game comes in, and when I actually buy the gun, I'll have a chance to test things like this, if that makes sense, because for me, that's my more distanced range gun, and it did shoot how I wanted to shoot. Even at times when it wasn't kind of going as far as I wanted it to, I would just kind of like position the gun slightly higher so the bullet has more for travel distance. But again, maybe something I have to do over time, adjust the hop up once I do purchase the weapon fully from my guy. But we're not talking about that. But yeah, for things like handguns, and while you're training in the beginning stages like at home and stuff, defo. But like I said, once you're thinking about purchasing things like an AEG and a bigger rifle type gun, definitely upgrade to something more with more weight, .25s, .28s. Like I said, .28s worked really lovely for me on that day, but that's in a rifle. That's a Spectre Arms HO2, so do you get it? Compared to a pistol, how the way it shoots and even how it's powered is different. One is a battery and one is a gas pistol. So things like the gas pistols, I would advise starters. These ones, the black, I'm gonna call them the black bullets because I cannot pronounce this company's name. But I have only good things to say about these. Like, though they are 2.0s, a lot of people say, oh, 2.0s are too light and stuff. For handguns, they're perfect. Half the time when you're using a handgun, you're not going to be trying to shoot somebody that's more than 20 meters away. Do you get it? Let's be realistic. Like, on a battlefield, you're averagely, if somebody's more than 20-30 meters away, you're averagely going to be using your AEG rifle or your GBB rifle. Like, let's be real out there. So you see, for your pistols, like, I used these on the game day. I think like half of the day I used it, and then half of the day I used the .28s in the Spectre Arms, and then in my conversion kit pistol I was using .20s, but the Vosk ones. I had no complaints. The only thing I would say with my, what's it called, my, let me just show you, because then it will make sense. Let me disarm it though, because it is on safety, but I don't have like glasses on, so I need to protect my eyes. So let me pop this out so it's not loaded. Okay, so with this bad boy, and if you notice, I've made some upgrades to this, which I might even just talk about in this video quickly. But yeah, with this bad boy, I found that obviously I'm on a field with people who have guns that can shoot so far. Half of these people have spent £500, £600, £700. Even sometimes I was hearing people, like there was one point where I was walking off the field and one guy was complaining about his rifle, and I just spoke to him, I'm a cool guy like that, quickly, and I was like, oh, what's wrong with it? And he was like, bloody just got back, spent £3 on it. No, I think he said £5 on it, £5 on it, and the fucking gun's broken already. And I was like, what? You spent 5 bags and I'm on the same field with you? What? Like, in total I probably only spent like 2-3 Joes just putting this conversion kit together, and some would say that's expensive, but not really. It's because I bought 2 pistols so I could convert things from both pistols into each other, plus little additions like battery packs, wiring, scopes, sights, bolts, things to attach my GoPro and shit too. So for me, I was just like, rah, okay. The only thing I would say about this, over time I think I'm going to test 2.5s in it, just because I feel like people who were on the field that were shooting things like .5s, .8s, and even things that like snipers like .32s, .35s, they had the advantage over me, because from a distance, like there were several times, there was even one time I got shot right there just underneath my face, and what it was the person had a sniper, so they could be miles away and shoot me, whereas I had to get quite close to be able to hit them with something like this. So what I've kind of come to is I will test this at times on outdoor fields, but I think this burner for me will be my indoor go-to. So this will be like my indoor close contact rifle, if that makes sense. So places that have close contact areas, this is what I'll bring, and I'll also have a side pistol that I'm due to upgrade and adjust, just so that that's at the peak that it can be. Outdoors, when I do take, because I still will take this out at times to outdoors just to test, especially once I've got my second cam. I feel like I need to test something a bit more heavier, not too heavy, because it still is a pistol that's inside the kit, so I do have to keep that in mind. I don't have a gearbox and an electric system that's pumping this bullet. It is just literally gas and metal and springs that's making this happen. However, it worked lovely. Like, most people were asking me questions. I was catching a lot of attention because look at it, man, it is a unique piece. Like, it is definitely a unique piece, and it stands in its own light. Don't worry, it's not loaded, it's empty. So yeah, so it stands on its own. But the one thing I would say is definitely have to test 2.5s, and I'll update you, because I just feel like something a bit more heavier with the gas power that this is pushing out, I really reckon I would dominate, because I done all right. I probably played 2 or 3 games with this at AP, and I did dominate probably like 1.5 game out of 3. But for me, especially when you're trying to grab content, you want to dominate maybe 2 or 3 games. You don't want to half the games you're getting thump up, and it was just partly because these other players had distance advantage on me, because I only had this, which I can slap you if you're roughly about 30-40 meters, but anything over that, my accuracy is going to be a bit off, because this is more of a close contact type weapon. And then obviously, yeah, I had my pistol, which this sight, which was wavy. This one thing I will say about AP, they allow you to be on full auto. You obviously have to be a certain distance. I think it's 30 or 40 feet away, but still, like, it gave me again the advantage where somebody would have like a rifle or sniper. I could just switch to my secondary, slap it on auto, and be thumping off bullets, which would kind of like calm them off, back them off, and then give me a chance to switch back to this, go out there, pull a bit closer and kill the person, which again, you guys will see half the footage, because I did get a good 2 or 3 games out of this bad boy. But the only thing I would say is that AEG, I definitely am going to invest, just because I feel like in outdoor games, I need an outdoor weapon that can give me the distance like what other people have, basically, because I just saw how beneficial it was, even the ability to scope quickly and things like that to get the accuracy. The only thing I would say about that is I probably need to put some new batteries into the sight on the HO2, but that's a story for another day. What am I saying? So yeah, like the 2.0s in it works well. The accuracy, one thing I will say is, again, for beginners, so all of this stuff I'm talking about today, BB wise, is beginners. Like, as I grow, I will take you guys on the journey and we'll talk about that stuff. But at the moment, this is the stage I'm at. So this is what I'm talking about, this stuff. For beginners, prefer, like, as you grow, so like I said, I would start on the Vosk 2.0s. As you grow, if you feel like you're not getting as much accuracy, because the one thing I will say is, as I added different types of gas into the magazines, and as I adjust, I done this thing where I filled half of this and half of this, but in reverse, if that makes sense. So one was white, one was black, one was white, one was black. So imagine having 48 rounds of that loaded out. You did get a bit of inconsistency, because at one point, even one of the guys from the batch, Evan, he had said to me, oh, the hop up on this gun is all over the place. And one thing I clocked is you have to get, because it's a pistol, you have to remember it's just a pistol inside of a conversion kit. So what you have to do is, as you tap the trigger, don't spam the trigger. Just tap it, give the gun a chance that even if it's just half a millisecond, then tap it again. Whereas if you're just tapping, it's like it will be inconsistent, because the gas chamber isn't getting a chance to release, reset and release. What's happening is it's releasing and then trying to reset, but halfway through that process you're slapping the trigger, so it's just pushing out again. So that's why that hop up issue happens. I would always advise people, and I'll show you quickly, like, let me just flick safety off. I'll show you quickly. It's so simple. It doesn't have to be a hard thing. You tap and then pause, tap, then pause, tap, then pause, tap, then pause, tap, then pause, tap. Them, it's very easy. You don't have to tap, 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 because you have, one thing you have to remember, it is a pistol inside of a conversion kit. So if you do want to have that benefit, just flick on your happy switch on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Where is it? There it is. Flick on your happy switch, and then all you have to literally do is tap and hold, tap and hold. So I think half the people that have bad feedback about pistols like Vosk and all these things, or even the Raven, it's because they don't, or even conversion kits, it's just because they don't understand what they're doing. This is what I'm starting to understand. Like, I'm talking to different players, and a lot of them have a lot of negative things to say about Vosk pistols and even just pistols inside conversion kits, and I really don't agree with them, because I have taken the time to fix these issues and understand the problems. But and that's what you need to do, or just buy a gun like something really expensive or AEG that you don't have those problems with, but they also do come with their own problems. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, man. This gets, like, I will rate them quick, like, I will verify them both. Some may say, oh, you shouldn't do that because they're not the best, and they're not the best. I'm not talking, you see, for beginners, they are the best because they're affordable and they do what you want them to do. Like, I wish I could flip my camera around right now, because I would literally just slap one straight up my aiming box and show you. They do the damn thing. Yes, it is only 3 meters away from me, but to achieve that inside wireless warm, it does its job. That means that when I'm outside and it's warm, I should achieve roughly the same thing. And if I don't, all I'd have to do is aim my pistol slightly higher, and guess what? The dip ratio will give me the same exact shot anyway. So do you gonna get what I'm trying to say? It's like, you just have to take, what I'm starting to understand with airsoft is, a lot of people have negative feedback, but it's because they haven't taken the time to understand how to fix the problem and how to manage the problem. Don't spam your trigger. Give your gun time to refill that chamber, because it is gas. If it is electric, then yeah, that is a bit different. And even then, you do have similar problems where if you spam your trigger, you'll just jam your gearbox. So did you see, the same thing is something that you have to learn as a player. There is no need to spam your trigger. Don't get too excited, don't get too panicky. Shoot, pause, shoot, pause. This gives you a chance to duck and take cover. This gives you a chance to assess your surroundings. This gives you a chance to even look at your weapon and just make sure there's no jams or nothing's falling off or nothing's hanging on. Because another thing that I noticed again with the HO2 was the barrel on it is very long. Like, so say for example, this is my barrel length. My barrel length starts from, I'll show you roughly, maybe about halfway in, just because it's inside the conversion kit, and then ends probably about there, inside the conversion kit. So you have to understand there's still all this space, say about that much space, that's empty barrel, which I'm due to upgrade over time. I'm going to put a longer barrel in it so that it sits nicely in the conversion kit. But all these differences give you things to focus on, because I noticed that probably about 2 or 3 times throughout the day, I had to, like, I have like a silencer on the end of the gun. I had to tighten it, because me putting it in, resting it on something, me putting it in the grass to reload the gun and things like that, over time it comes loose. So things to keep in mind. But yeah, like I said, I would verify these. They're great, they do the job. I probably would give them both similar scores, so I'd probably give this like the 7. And just because it's not a pro BB, it's more a beginner's BB. It gives you a chance to come in, understand what you're doing, understand flight pattern, understand adjusting your hop up to achieve your flight pattern, and maybe even just understanding the difference in weight ratios. Because like I said, in using this is why I started to understand, oh, maybe I could test slightly heavier BBs like 0.20s in this, because I reckon I might lose a slight distance because it's 0.5 heavier, but the accuracy will go up slightly. So do you get what I'm trying to say? And it's the same with this. In having those BBs, it gave me the ability to say, do you know what, let me try something and see if I don't mind having something that's darker, which is harder for my camera to track, however might give me accuracy if I can put my weapon in the right place. So you know what I'm saying? Verified. I'd probably give this 7.5 or an 8, just because the accuracy and that slight, what I've found is, because they're slightly, it's ever so small, you know, they're slightly smaller than these bad boys, you're able in a clip, say your clip holds 48, you'll fit 49 or 50 just because of the tight stacking of them. This is something that, this is, don't tell the manufacturers this, but like what I have found is, yeah, that's what will happen. And like I said, these videos, I'm not selling any products. I'm a player just like you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But that's why I try to give you guys real feedback and tell you the truth. In terms of updates, I just want to give you a quick update on this, and then we'll kind of go over a couple other things that happened at AP, and then I'll end this video, so we won't keep it too long. We won't make it more than 25-30 minutes long. Adjustments that I've made. So at some point I'm gonna have to take out the pistol and show you guys, because what I've had to do is I changed the inner barrel. I'll show you quickly. So if you notice, my Vosk pistol now has a black top slide, and it's because, again, I've done some more conversions. Let me take out that clip, because I do not have eye covers on. So yeah, now you can see it's empty. And yeah, so I've changed the barrel, which is again a conversion from the Raven, and the accuracy on it has gone up. So I feel like that was a worthy change. We'll talk about this later, and I just feel like it works because it matches the gun a bit more better. Like if you notice, now the slide's black, now my barrel is black. It fits with a black trigger, for example. It fits with my black slide release. It fits with my black switch. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? It fits with my black sight, So I just feel like it adds a nice little balance and decorum to the gun, whereas before it was a bit mix-match because you had like a silver barrel, silver slide, black trigger. It was just a bit all over the place. So yeah, I done that change recently. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I've basically changed the inner barrel of that one to the silver Vosk one. And it still works perfectly because I'm using the Raven slide, and the Raven slide it is a very good slide, a lot better than the Vosk slide. Having the barrel in there doesn't make much difference. I will say it feels a bit more lower quality because obviously it's a Vosk one instead of a Raven one, but the shots are still consistent. Plus it matches the gun. If you notice, like my trigger, let me take it off safety, my trigger is silver, so it matches the silver slide also inside the gun. You can't see it, but inside, let me see if you can see it. Inside, I don't know if you can see inside that little thing in there. It's silver as well, so it matches that. Again, my mag release on this gun is silver. My slide lock is silver, so it just basically adds a nice little aesthetic to this whole burner, because I feel like before this burner was a bit all over the place. I've also changed the battery system on the side to the Duracell one. I just feel like it fits the gun a bit better. Plus it's slightly bigger capacity. The other one was 5,000 milliamp. This one's 6,700 milliamp. So do you get it? Probably about what, 1,700 milliamp more. And the last game, this charged the camera the whole day and still had enough battery once I came home to charge the camera again. And I think there's still battery on it, if I'm correct. Yeah, do you see? There's 2 more bars, so that says a lot. That means that something like this I could take all day out and I'd be alright. What else have I added? So obviously I think I've done this in another video. I showed you I went back to the original green sight. I just feel like it does this thing. I don't know if you guys can see it. Plus it just lines up so perfectly with my front sight. So in a game, it's just so accurate. That's one thing I will say about this. It's like wherever I aim my sight, this is roughly where the gun's shooting. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very rare I have to make adjustments, and when I do, it's normally because there's wind or, but you know what I'm saying, there's something else that's throwing the bullet off. Do you get? Not necessarily the shot accuracy itself. What else have I done? So I've rewired just to make my wiring a bit more simple. So it's just like one straight wire, and I've done it loose so it can come out and go straight into the back charging port. Same with the other side. I've made it very simple and just run it along the side, run it over, and then made it accessible to where the GoPro will be sitting on the gun. I've also removed other attachments and put one GoPro attachment there. So it's just very simple. Everything's just nice and clean cut, and I think the only adjustments I still want to make to this is oh yeah, and then obviously I've got my holding slot where that straps to my chest holder, or sling if you want to call it that. So yeah, I think the only things that I still want to do to it, and obviously you see I've got the back extender as well as my main extender, you know what I'm saying? So as one piece, don't worry, the safety's on guys, so I won't shoot myself. So as one piece, you see it basically looks like a baby machine gun, which is so cool because that's what I was trying to achieve. I was trying to show people that don't don't count out the conversion kit, especially if you're gonna take your time and work on a pistol that goes inside of it, because you will show up people who have really expensive guns with this cheaper model thing. Plus with the extended arm stock, you can see it just gives the gun a whole rifle feel. So I believe this is why I was getting looks throughout the day, because people were thinking, what the fuck is that? Like, that just looks different. And yeah, that's what I like about it. It looks different and it does the job. Indoors, I would definitely fucking dominate. I can see it now. So I definitely have to test the indoor site and just see. But yeah, so that's that. Like, I feel like the only adjustments I still want to make to this bad boy is probably put like a laser on the front, probably a small bottom laser, and then yeah, there's not much really I want to do to this, you know. Probably put a laser and then the barrel upgrade. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then my boy and me was talking about a HPA system, but that would be for this and for the side pistol as well. So those are the only three things I would do to this loadout, and then I'll basically move on to my next loadout, which is my outdoor loadout, which I'm trying to make it the spec. My arms HO2 as my primary, and then as my secondary, maybe have something like a gas high cap. But we'll see, because even the high cap is like, I know I'm gonna have to take my time and do my customizations to that, and I would like to buy it, use it out the box before I even tamper with it. So yeah, that's a whole nother video. But yeah, like you guys can see, I'm starting to get to a stage where I now have one full loadout. Like, I'm almost there. Like I said, it's only add a laser to this. Maybe over time I might change the sight, but that's long term. And then yeah, like I said, the barrel upgrade, which I think might just give me a bit more distance and maybe allow me to use this more on outdoor fields, if that makes sense. So yeah, that should be interesting to look into. But yeah, so yeah, man, definitely would advise it. If you guys want any information or even just advice or support on how to build, shout me. I can even build it for you, but that's a whole nother story. Last couple things I wanted to address was at the game that I went to. Obviously I was playing with my team members. One of my guys bought his girl. In the last game, or the last two games, her rifle had jammed up. I think she must have spammed the trigger and broke it basically, so she couldn't play. And at one point, again, you guys will see this in content because this happens on the GoPro. I saw it on the GoPro and I was looking through footage a couple nights back. I had been like, because I had the HO2 Spectre, I had the side pistol as well. I just thought, you know what, I'm not using it as much. I'm happy in this gun. I've got 2 whole full magazine off 150 rounds, that's 300. I'm good, like, hold it. So I must have gave it to her and been like, yeah, come in, man, come play with us. Probably like 20-30 minutes later, she came back to me and was like, look, the gun's broken. So I was like, oh shit. Mid game, I tried to keep loading it. What was happening was it was double loading bullets. So you'd cock it, and then by the time the slide tries to make it back, it would stop roughly about here. And when you check the barrel, it was because 2 pellets were loaded in. And I don't know if you've seen it before. I wish I kind of left it like it, because then I could show you. Because for some reason, like, say a mag was empty but had gas in it, yeah, so no BBs but had gas, I could put that mag in, load it and shoot, and the slide would make it fine. So I was like, okay, the slide is fine. I've done it a couple times, shoot, it was fine. But the moment I put one in that had BBs in, it's like it just wouldn't load properly. It would every time load 2 BBs, which means that the slide would lock, and now your barrel is basically jammed because there's a BB in the barrel, then there's another BB behind it trying to be loaded, and then there's a BB right at the top of the clip ready for the ejector to push. So technically it was trying to load 3. Over time, like, I think I took it home that night. Because even in game, I think you'll see it on the content as well. In game, I take the gun apart and look over it, and I'm proper trying to work out where it is. But no matter what I did, I took off the slide, took out the barrel, took out the spring, because at one point I thought it was the slide spring. And for some reason, we're just gonna get it fixed. So I ended up just taking it back and just saying to her, no worries, man, don't stress about it. Took it home, and I think it was last night, funny enough. Was it last night? Probably last night or the night before. I took the gun apart, done some research, took the gun apart. And it was so simple. You see, the thing with the Vosk is it's a beautiful gun, but it, like anything good, if you use it, you need to maintain it. So what it looks like had happened was she must have dropped the gun or spammed my trigger, one of the two. And what had happened was there's a spring, but not my slide spring, so not the spring that sits up here. It's a spring that sits, how do I explain it? So you see my loader, so you see that blue loader, yeah? Behind that there's a spring, and that's what allows that forward ejecting loading motion. That spring is so long but small, if that makes sense. So it's a bit about this long, but it's so thin and small. So if you were to spam the trigger or even drop this gun too hard, what might happen is you'd push that spring out of place, and it's now sitting in between your barrel and the loader instead of behind the loader. So it looks like that's what had happened, but it was so easy. It was quite, like, a bit more harder than taking apart a standard Glock. Ooh, the rattle's gone. I think that new barrel was good for this gun, because listen to that. You can't hear no rattle. Pretty good. But yeah, what I had to do was basically take that out, and it's a bit more difficult with the Voss, because the Voss comes with this top unit that needs to come out. That's what actually holds your loader, whereas in the, let's say something like the Raven, for example, there's no top unit like this. The loading unit is just connected to your top barrel. So this is a bit more work, I will say that, but it's probably only like 2-3 minutes more work. Yeah, I basically had to take it back out, reload the spring how it's meant to be, and just to be safe, I put another brand new speed loader in there, or not speed loader but loading unit in there. So that blue thing is a new one, and I took it off and shot, and it loads perfectly fine. So I think most people who have bad feedback about this gun, it's because they're just not either educated enough on the topic, or they're just not willing to do the work to maintain the gun. Because the moment I done that and put it back together, I was able to empty a whole clip, and it's been working ever since. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's been working ever since. If anything, I think it feels 10 times better now. So maybe that's something to keep in mind. It's like, since I have bought this gun, which probably is about 3 months ago now, I haven't changed it up until that happened. So maybe something worth keeping in mind. Always have a spare loading unit in there, or like, well, I have this in my loader anyway. I've got one for the Raven as well, so that if anything was to go funny, you can just replace it. And even still yet, like, one thing I probably do want to try when this new one gets damaged is put the old one back in, because one thing that hit me was it might not even be the actual blue loader. What it might be is the spring. The spring had lodged itself and got jammed, so all it needed was repositioning, which technically means I could have put back the old loader back in, and in theory this would have worked. So that's something I'm due to test in future. But just look at it, it just looks the part now. I feel like it looked amazing in silver, but this just looks banging. And then obviously I put Jojo on the side, and I've removed the ASO. I just feel like I was just doing too much with this gun. It just looks nice and simple and real and does its thing now. Do you get what I'm saying? Let me show you as well, so you know I'm not capping that I fixed it. And put something to cover my eyes. I believe it's already loaded. Yeah, just see, so it is already loaded. I'm gonna aim. You see, it's so accurate. It made straight. Like, I wish I could actually show you. I'll show you GoPro footage at some point. So accurate now. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, I have nothing but good things to say about this. Like, if anything, I think in the first video I ranked it probably about a 7.5. I want to rank it higher, because with this new barrel put in and this loader change, and I think I just greased up a couple parts in there, it just shoots so beautiful. I don't even know how else to explain. It might sound like I'm capping on the gun, but if you have a Voss, or you want to buy a Voss and you don't think it's a good pistol, bring it to me. Let me look after it for you. Pay me a nice little sum, and I promise you, any issues you have, keep bringing it back to me, and I'll maintain it for you. And I'm telling you, you will enjoy having a Voss in your life, because right now this is my favorite pistol over the Raven. Like, the Raven is the better pistol, but this is my favorite. I use this more often than my Raven, which should say something, because like I said to you, my Raven is the better pistol. Do you get what I'm saying? And you know, the cool thing would be, imagine putting this back inside the kit. But story for another day. But yeah, peeps, I think those are the things I basically wanted to touch on today, channel wise. And I just want to say, like, share, and subscribe. I've noticed that you guys are showing me love. The subscribers are going up, the follows are going up, and even just the view ratio. People are watching the shorts a bit more. So just keep up the love, keep maintaining. And yeah, man, just any topics that you guys would like to see chat to me about. I've got some new guns I'm due to get, like I said, the High Cap and the HO2. So there's due to be videos on that stuff soon. And yeah, man, just keep staying blessed, keep airsofting safe, and just keep the airsoft being a gentleman's sport. One thing I will say about it is I love how gentleman the sport is. So let's keep it that way, and let's make it stronger, and let's keep building, and let's connect the community a bit more. Yeah? Until next time.